Well, hello, my friends. Here we are on both day 11 and 12. Both day 11 and 12 at once. Yay! Day 11, we're doing this morning, at least in my time. For some of you, it's this evening if you're on the other side of the world. And so, yeah, yay, hooray. This evening we'll be back at 5:55 Eastern Time, or tomorrow morning if you're in Australia and Hong Kong and all of those beautiful places, Bali, and we'll see you there. So, right now is all about what in the world is happening with money, with finance, with the energy of abundance, with there appears to be a tremendous amount of polarity about that subject right now, and it seems like is there are greater and greater divisions between those who have and those who do not have. It seems that way. Now, something's being created right now in front of our eyes because of the duality and the polarity and the divisiveness that's happening right now. It's birthing new ideas. It's birthing new possibilities. It's giving way to new possibilities, um, ideologies, etc., etc. So let's talk about first, and I'd love to hear for you how you're feeling about the your personal economy and the global economy and the feelings of hope. How do you feel about that? What do you think is going on personally yourself? And good morning, everyone, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello, Jana. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Joan. So, yeah, do tell. What's going on? What's happening? What does it feel like to you? I'd love to know. So, if you could just post that in the chat, I want to see what's going on for you personally. What's happening that you notice is right, and that you notice seems to be a little bit off. And if we get answers that kind of represent humanity right now, we'll probably see that there are areas where I'm finding a lot of people are coming forward that's saying that I always find the money, but I never get ahead. I always find it, but I never get ahead. Now, you probably don't realize this about me, but my actual degree is in economics. It's not in holography. So, since my degree is in economics, I'm always fascinated, holographically at least, by what is going on in the world. So, permit me to share a little bit about what I'm seeing these days. If you remain conscious, now what do I mean by conscious? I mean aware. If you remain aware, if you allow yourself to not be stuck in the old paradigms of your parents or your ancestry, if you allow yourself to be present. Now, when I say allow yourself, maybe it's through going through a morning walk. Maybe it's through continuing to do your meditation. Maybe it's by working with someone who you feel activates you to a possible future. Maybe it's through doing programs that open you up instead of keeping you. And I want to say this because this is what's available economically. If you allow yourself to be catalyzed, especially catalyzed by others who see things a different way, who bring you into a new perspective, who expand your awareness, not in order to be righteous, but in order to be able to dance with new things that have been catalyzed by the rest of your life, by the askings and the polarity and the difficulty that you've had. If you're working with people to actually assist you to live out the futures that have been catalyzed by the what you don't want, okay? People like me, people like Joe Dispenza. There's other people, not too many, but we're sort of in that realm of assisting you to be in mastery of the future that's presenting. Yeah. So let's kind of look at the leap that's available financially, economically, both globally and for you. It's interesting. My video keeps being crooked over here. Okay, just write in what it's been for you. And here we go. Generally, financially is one of those main places, kind of like a relationship, financial. Another area is with your health. Those are probably the three main areas where we now have a huge opportunity to, instead of, and by the way, you're in 12 days of getting unstuck. And this is day 11, so we're almost there. Day 12 is actually going to happen tonight at 5:55 Eastern Time, which is 2:55 Pacific, 10:55 if you're in England, and bright and early tomorrow morning. If you're on the other side of the world, you can look up your time on a world clock. The the way that physics works is you're never stuck. That's the irony. You're never stuck. You're either recreating, okay, by where you put your attention. Oh, see, the world's still the way it is. See, there's still poverty. See, my bank account keeps going up, but then it just crashes back down, so I just have barely enough to pay my bills. See, I always have just enough. See. And you're asking consciousness to see what exists. And if you keep focusing on what exists, of course, what gets recreated is what already exists. So it's a circle, right? You keep recreating this circle. That's an illusion, however, because life is like the middle of a toroidal field. It's like the middle of a great big creative feedback loop that's constantly informing your life. And that is on a spiral. It's on a spiral up. Now, you could live the illusion that you're not in a spiral. You could just recreate the same circle all the time, and the same circle will exist on every part of the spiral. The only part that will be spiraling is the fact that you age. That's what the creation is, you aging over time, which is also a spiral, which is also a circle, because that's a noticing that you can just keep recreating. I'm getting older, look at my knees, my brain's not working as well, and you just recreating the same thing that all of humanity talks about around aging. What we want to do around finances, what we want to do around your financial ability to flourish, is we want to start having the courage, having the bravery, having the willingness, having the. We want to start actually creating anew. We want to start creating something that hasn't been for you before, which actually requires a deliberate effort, especially at first. It requires a deliberate effort, especially at first. So let's talk about how physics and biology and cosmology work together in order to co-create, assist you to provide you the canvas on which to create something new. If you're already creating something new, imagine that this is your opportunity to actually create something really expansive beyond your wildest dreams. So, this time in history, think about it. Think about the contrast. I want to show you what's available because of the contrast that's been existing in this world. So, what's been happening is we have the collective ego, the collective power hungry kind of forces that be that are really trying to gaslight us away from having our own abundance. It's looking mighty desperate. Usually when something looks mighty desperate, it really has a sense that it is up to leave or up to die. It starts scrambling, just as we talked about in past days, like a gazelle that's fighting for its life when it's in the jaws of a tiger. Well, imagine that we're the tiger that's coming, right? So the collective ego is trying desperately to hold on to what it's had. It's not to say that inevitably the tiger might win or it might not win. It's to say that you have to be present as the gazelle to find your way out, to maintain life and to go forward. All right? So it's up to us, as I said at the beginning, to maintain our presence and create anew. Take the contrast, use the laws of physics and biology and cosmology to be able to create what's next, to use our imaginations. Because otherwise, like we talked about in day, I don't know, 2, 4, and 6, I think, we are a victim, especially in day 2, a victim of our reality. I think a lot of you seem to have liked that day about victimhood versus energetically co-creators. Now, if you imagine what the conversation is of that collective ego, it will give you a clue as to what's available to those of us who remain conscious creators. The collective ego is saying what? What do you think it's saying? Write it into the chat. The collective ego, for me, as I look at the hologram of it all, is saying there are certain people that should have. The collective ego is saying we need to maintain the status quo. People shouldn't know how powerful they are. The collective ego is saying, you're right. You really don't know how to dance with money. Let us be the powerful ones who run the world. You're right. You stay asleep. The collective ego is saying, listen to us. Listen to us. Listen to the ones who have, the ones who look like their success looks like money. That's what the collective says. Success looks like money. So there are opportunities, to redefine what success looks like. Because I can tell you, I think I've shared this with you before, I've worked with people who have a ridiculous amount of money, and I can tell you that they are no more or no less happy. It's just as happy or as unhappy, just more zeros. Fortunately, I've also worked with people who work with those who are the ones who pull all the economic strings in the world, or they're the ones that do. And I can tell you right now that there are, let's say, magicians and alchemists in the tapestry of that, who are working to redirect where their abundance goes in magical and incredible ways, which makes my heart sing. Little alchemists who are weaving their magic, including me, to have some of those people look at life differently. In fact, that's one of my greatest, things that tickles me most, is having been able to work with some of those people to show them the magic that's available, the beauty that's available in life. And it's a wonderful thing. The next thing is that for you and I, as we redefine what success is and what power has nothing to do with money. Power has to do with everything we've been talking about for 12 days. Power has to do with being able to tap into consciousness, to tap into the laws of physics, to tap into your alchemical superpowers, which are not woo woo. They literally are, they're scientific codes that lie in physics that instruct your body to be able to plug into life in such a way that you dance with life the same way that nature does. Nature dances with life not in struggle, nature dances with life directly. We have the capacity to do that too. And when we're informed that way, and instead of listening with our ears and with our mind, with our brains, and in 3D, we start to listen to life the same way nature does, which is, through our cells being able to receive the information that leaves and comes into us through our receptor sites, when we can actually go direct with the photon packages of light that are given off by every tree, every flower, everything that exists, and we actually listen that way cellularly, we dance with life that way. You wonder why sometimes you're having an amazing day. People do it unconsciously all the time and they're totally in flow, and it's because they're not listening to life with their brain and with their ears. They're dancing with life from their cells and from this feeling of expansive, contractive. Also, a concept that we talk about in the book Unstuck. February 3rd, it's coming out. I hope you join us. Make sure you register for the really awesome pricing that we're giving for the first couple of days. Register before February 3rd. You could do it right now if you want. thewideawakening.com/unstuck. thewideawakening.com/unstuck. And as we learn to go direct with consciousness, we actually tap into the abundance that continues to be birthed in this beautiful world. You can see the abundance. You can see the prosperity. Now, you might say it's not on the news, and you might be right. That's part of the collective ego that wants to gaslight us into not seeing what's going on, just seeing the bad stuff, which would keep us in that circle I talked about earlier. The circle that is a circle that keeps being recreated on every part of the spiral. When you actually join the spiral, everything is going forward and up. But that would require you not adhering to the news. Sometimes when I watch the news, I just watch the news in order to catalyze me. It's like, that's not what's wanted. What is wanted then? I use it as a catalyst in order to create. But you have to have excellent confidence in the laws, in the application of the laws of physics. One of the things we talked about as homework, I think on Friday, was getting an evidence journal. You want to start to collect evidence, because otherwise you're going to be pummeled by your neighbors, your family, the news, social media, with everything that's wrong. And we don't really want to do that, right? Because you're just going to recreate how to protect yourself. Protecting yourself is not creating upon creation. Safety is not how nature lives. Nature, like an oak tree, is curious on the adventure, even when it comes to which direction the next branch is going to grow, how the bark is going to grow to protect it, where the next acorn is going to drop so there's a new oak tree. It's constantly creating upon itself, and we're made in that image, right? We are a part of nature. We're made of the same atoms as an oak tree, as a matter of fact, or anything. We're made of the same atoms that the entire cosmos are made of. and the cosmos are creating upon themselves constantly and nonstop. That's why we want to be curious on the adventure of what all of this is catalyzing. You just have to be willing to let go of what is to go there. So, economically, globally, what's happening in brief is there is a tremendous amount of perturbation that looks like it's actually oppressing people that don't have a lot of prosperity or money. But the redefinition of prosperity is what's going to change our ability to actually be prosperous. If you'll actually notice, there have been millionaires and billionaires created just from the crypto world who are young. So all of a sudden you've got ideological, curious on the adventure, expansive young people who have older people too, but a lot of younger people jumped in and made a lot of money. Wonder what's going to happen with that, right? The next thing is that, and that's because they remained curious on the adventure and not willing to be steered away from, scared by, or oppressed by the powers that be. Mostly really, really old white men. Not all. But if you look at people who do good with their money, if you look at all the people that are building things that are beautiful in the world, there's a direction being taken that's silent, that you don't see on the news. I would start searching that out and collecting evidence for what's happening. Because I can tell you there are things happening with, poverty in India. There are things happening with the rainforest. There are things happening with the monetary system in Asheville. There's a beautiful system being developed that I know that's being developed all over North America by young people. There are things happening that if you're not looking, you won't see them because you're too busy collecting evidence for what's not happening, which is why, especially in our private group, the Agents of Awakening, we're constantly collecting evidence every Wednesday for everything that's happening that's good in this world. That is abundance. As we start to redefine abundance and prosperity, not having to do with money, but having to do with the expansion of good in the world and the amount of heart there is in the world. It's not that you'll have more money, you will. It's that you'll be able to enjoy it, which will beget more, which will have you enjoy it more, and more good things will happen with it. The definition of success is part of what's up to leave. So that's your homework today. Truly, what is success to you? What does it mean? What does it mean to live a prosperous life? Okay, so Katerina and Annette and everyone who's joined us on Facebook, I hope that this helps kind of catalyze new thinking. Everyone on Agents of Awakening, I'm going to say I'll see you guys on Facebook all at 5:55 Eastern time tonight. And know that this is, I think I will exclamation point this conversation with the following. This is one of the most important times around money that ever was. Why? Because the more polarity there is, the more that is being birthed into consciousness, the more a future awaits that's been the asking based on the frustration in the now. The more quickly you align to imagining what your overflow looks like, the more quickly you align to feeling good now, anyways, and not being a victim of the polarity and the divisiveness around money now, the more you don't give it any power. And your power all goes to your frequency, how you feel, how you treat people. You have attention, which is invaluable and priceless. You have love, which is invaluable and priceless because it can create anything. You have stuff you can do and create. You have neighbors that you can go and visit. You have so much that is available to you that starts to make the world a different place. If you give none of your power to the old paradigm of finance and all of your power to what your heart calls you towards. And you might say, that sounds so fluffy. It's not fluffy. Start doing it every day, every hour. So that's why we teach Get Out of Your Own Way. That's why we teach the Thriving Operating System. The more people can come to embody thriving, the faster this world changes. First metaphysically, and then that metaphysical shift starts to, as you change in your own life, all of a sudden that 100th monkey starts to hit. And everything in our world is all about creating that. So I'm glad you're here. And we'll see you all again next time, the 12th day. What? All right.